Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're talking Dislight. So they've done a bit of a Q&A, a developer Q&A, and they've done what I always knew they were going to do with the servers. Well, I didn't know, but it's what I thought was going to happen. The game is releasing on May 10th, and the previous only official thing we'd heard was from one of the official Lilith members in the Discord saying there wouldn't be a new server. And when I heard that, and the game's been out for more than 6 months in soft launch, in these type of games where it's like an Epic 7 style of game, Summoner's War, Raid Shadow Legends, whatever you want to call it, like, you know, people want to get there in PvP, and when you've had a 6-month head start, it's just, even if you're like a spender, like a whale in like coming at global release, you're still a long way behind. So it just leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth. And I know that in these games there will be spenders and there will be free to play, and the spenders are going to get ahead of free to play and all that stuff. But it's more the factor of not being able to start off on the same foot. Having said that, you could get the APK, but you know, it's not the same. Some people don't hear about it, and you know, you don't get into it till later. So on May 10th, the game is launching. They've done this Q&A, which gives the big answer that we were looking for. Now, I'm not going to go through everything. I'm going to do a bunch more Dislight videos in the lead up to the 10th. And, you know, we'll get all the information for the game out there. But this is the thing I wanted to look at, because this was, I feel like this would have been a deal breaker for a lot of people. But here we have the question, will global launch introduce new servers? And this says, we will add an international server 1 on the global launch day. The server you've been playing on during the testing period will be renamed the Honor server. To create a better environment for new players, the data between the two servers will not sync in the early stages. We will merge them into one server at some point after the global launch. Please stay tuned for further announcements. Now, this is one of those resolutions that they're trying to please everyone. I think it's the best resolution that they probably could have done after the way they've done it. So for me personally, I just think these long soft launches are just, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of them personally. I'd rather them do it like they could do the same duration and say, you know, data will get... It's kind of like what Awaken Chaos Era did, where they're like, okay, you can play, and if you spend money, once the actual game comes out, you get like double that credit in the actual game. Like, I feel like that's a better process than having a soft launch like this, because you put yourself in this situation. And I feel like with what they've done here is they've said, we're going to start a new server for new players, which then makes new players feel comfortable coming into it. And they're like, okay, we're happy. You know, we're not going to be competing with those guys early on. But then they say later on, we will merge it, which keeps the people on the old server happy, thinking, you know, we're going to come in there at some time. But you'll notice, I don't think, I'd be surprised if they gave you like even an expected time frame, because these things always seem to drag out. I've seen another game that I covered very early in my YouTubing career, which was Skylanders Ring of Heroes. They did the exact same thing. They started a new server and they go, oh, don't worry guys, we're going to start a new server at global launch and then we will merge them eventually. I think it went about 8 months and it still wasn't merged by the time I quit playing the game after about 8 months. So it's like, it's one of those things. It's, they put themselves into a corner with the soft launch where, you know, I feel like this is the best way for them to save face with both, you know, leagues of players, whether it be the old players or the new players. However, in my gut, and this is not confirmed, this is just me speculating, I feel like people on the existing server will get shafted in the long run. I feel like it's just going to be that, don't worry, we'll merge you at some stage, we'll merge you at some stage, we'll merge you at some stage, and I don't know when they will, because what's going to happen in my mind, like I said, this is just me speculating, because, you know, a bit of speculation is always something fun to do. So I feel like at the moment, they want to appease all of the, you know, people playing the game at the moment. And they appease them by saying, listen, you will come in eventually. But once you've got a bunch of new global players, which far outweigh the number of players on the old server, and then you go, oh yeah, we're going to merge, and all those global players go, no, we don't want you to merge, like that's just going to be unfair for us, and you've got the two sides of the argument, and now it's come crunch time and you've got to do it. It's a matter of, do you look after the minority of people, which were the, well, assuming that you're going to get a bunch of players at global launch, do you look after the minority of old players and merge them in and let them just dominate and stomp on the people because they've still had 6 months of progress? Or do you go on the side of the majority of players, which is going to keep your player base larger, and say, we'll just keep dragging it out? So it's like you have three options. You say, okay, we're merging, you piss off the majority of players. You say, we're not merging, you piss off the early players. Or you just endlessly say, we will merge. And then it comes down to the idea of, how long into it do you merge? Like, that is the big question for me. It's like, what is a suitable amount of time to where 6 months, it doesn't seem like as much? Like, if you wait 6 months into the global launch, those players have still had twice the time to progress as the other players. Do you wait a year into the launch? Still seems like a large percentage. Do you wait 2 years into the launch? And by that time, are those players on the old server still playing? So it's a very interesting one. Another solution that I thought they could have done, which would have been cool, and like I said, I'm just rambling now because I like theory crafting on stuff like this as well. But I thought something that they could have done would be to maybe credit the players with what they've spent, or like not just what they've spent, but also the progression they've made in the soft launch. Launch a new server, like essentially how they've done it. You'll still have the honor server, and then you have the global launch server. But you could reward them with in-game credit based on how much they spent and how much they progressed in the soft launch. That soft launch server stays there, and they could use it as like a test server. So launch stuff, you know, the week before to test it, kind of like Lilith do with their other game, AFK Arena, which I play, which is a fantastic system having a test server. So like then those players could have early access to things and test them on their good account, but then they get recognition for all the testing they did in the first place. And then they can, you know, progress faster because they've got their credit on the new server, but they don't actually start ahead of everyone. That would have been my solution. I know it still would have ruffled a few feathers, but I feel like I'm not too stressed personally because I was always going to start a fresh account on global launch, even if they didn't start a new server, because I like to progress at the same rate as most of the people coming in. But yeah, I feel like that would have been my play if it was me. But once again, when you don't fully like communicate these things from the start, it's hard to actually implement them later on. So I think they've done what was the safest thing to do, is to start the new server and say we'll add it later, and then, you know, don't give an exact time frame so you don't set expectations. It's probably the best thing to do. But anyway, that was a long ramble to talk about a new server on Dislight. I will be making more content. I'm just having a lot of trouble getting it to run smoothly on emulators at the moment. So if anyone's playing it on emulator with good settings, let me know what emulator, what settings, everything. I've been trying it on the 64-bit, on like the new test one, on BlueStacks, on Nox, on LD Player. It's just, I can't get it going good. So if you can help me, please do, and we will start making some more content. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.